Okay, hi guys, thanks for joining me again. I'm going to be doing a tutorial on a cat ear today, so I hope you enjoy it, I hope you learn something, and let's get started. So, I'm going straight in with Polychromos Black at the moment, and the reason for that is it gives me a nice sharp point so I can get the edge lines straight in and get the shape of the ear, and that's quite important because once we've got that in we can kind of play about with the rest, but you want to make sure that your ear is actually looking like an ear. Kind of essential. Alright, so we're bringing in the shapes there. What I'm going to do at this point as well is just get rid of my grid lines. As I've mentioned previously, I do use a grid method. It's great for just mapping in your main points of reference. Make sure that things are sitting where they should sit. Gets your proportions right and whatnot. But ultimately it doesn't do the job for you, so those who think it's cheating, it's not really. I don't know how you could then create a work of art purely from using a grid. All the grid's doing really is helping you make sure your proportions are right. It's just a tool. It's a tool for getting things in place. So if that's what helps you do your work, then that's what you use. It doesn't replace, obviously, learning freehand drawing. You're always going to want to go back to that and keep practicing because that's what makes you a better drawer. But ultimately the grid method is only really helping you map out your main points. It doesn't really do the job for you. It's just a nice quick way of getting your proportions right and getting everything in place. This is when the hard work starts. So all I'm doing at this point is I'm just mapping in the dark colours, getting the outline of the ear in place and getting those main shapes in. A lot of drawn animals is about shapes, so just really observe what are the main shapes. So we've got some curving over here, going up towards there, and they're kind of curving across and in the way. And then we've got some going in different directions at the bottom there, so just map those in. Okay. Now, I normally recommend going in with the pink first and mapping out the inner ear, but to be honest, because of how much of the black there is on this, I'm not too worried about that. I'm not too worried about having to go in with the kind of pinky tones afterwards, because on this ear it is a bit darker. There's not that much of the pink on display, so it's fairly easy just to put that in. And I'm using this is Ruby Earth. It's a Derwent Lightfast pencil. Just try and get that there. And these are great pencils. They're really nice to work with, really nice colours. They lay down well. And they're just really nice to use. They're really rich, and some of the colours are just different from a lot of the other brands. They're just a really nice pencil. So I've mapped in some of that. I'm going to go in with some peach now, and it's a Prismacolor peach. Prismacolors are a wee bit different in that they're nice and soft, so they're really good for, you know, where you want to kind of blend and cover area fast. They're really pigmented, so they do cover the paper really fast and easily, as you can see. Isn't that lovely already? Oh, I like when things happen quickly. There we go. So we're all finished. No, I'm only kidding. We're not all finished. We're definitely not all finished. This is the ugly phase, as you can see. It goes a bit grainy. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go in with some indigo blue, and the reason I do that is it just adds a bit of depth into the black, as you can see. And I'm just doing that just very lightly over the black, and it just gives a wee bit of depth to that. A lot of black fur reflects blue from the sky anyway, so it tends not to look odd, and it does just bring a bit of depth to the black. It makes it look a bit deeper and darker. Now, excuse the sharpening going on in the background here. I'm just going to sharpen up my black. Now this is, I'm going in now, I used the Polychromos for the sharpness around the edge. Now going in with the Prismacolor. And it's a nice rich black. So the reason I do the Polychromos first is it gives really nice sharp edges. But the Prismacolor has a really nice deep black. It's a lot more kind of jet black. Whereas your Prismacolor, as you can see as I'm putting this on, you can probably notice the difference between that and the earlier Prismacolor. Prismacolor isn't quite as pigmented, not Prismacolor, sorry, Polychromos isn't quite as pigmented as the Prismacolor. Too many P's going on here. Prismacolor and Polychromos. But as you can see, the Prismacolor is much darker and richer and it covers well. But because it is kind of darker and richer, that's because it's a bit softer too, and it doesn't hold a point quite as well. So a mixture of the two is great, I have to say. I use both of them in tandem a lot. They both have their merits. Okay, so I'm just bringing that right across. And what we do at this stage, now that it's getting quite grainy, I would go in with my blender pen. So I use the Derwent blender pen. Where are we? There you go. As you can see, this has been well used. The tip is quite black already. And look how lovely that is. It just melts it into the paper. Awesome. It really is. I love using this. It's one of my favourite things to use. As you can see, I mean, look at the difference just in seconds of putting that over the top. When I first started using coloured pencil, I was so frustrated with how grainy everything looked, and I couldn't understand what other artists were doing. They had this gorgeous smooth pencil work, and I was seeing it on Instagram and YouTube, and I thought, what are they doing? Well, it turns out they weren't using blender pens, but that's the method I found that worked for me. Other artists use different techniques, so some will just keep layering pencil forever until it goes nice and smooth, which is absolutely fine. Whatever works for you. Some people will use solvent, and you'll see people using different types of solvents. I would recommend, if you're going to try that, go for odourless, otherwise you'll stink your room out. There we go. I'm just going to let that dry a little bit while I blather on. So yeah, some people use solvents, and that also smooths out the pencil in a similar way to what I'm doing here. I'm just going to tidy up my outlines while that's drying, using a rubber. And other people actually burnish, which is when you press hard with the pencil. And by pressing hard, you fill the, you know, the kind of grain of the paper. It's called the tooth of the paper when you're filling the grain. They'll fill the tooth of the paper. But what I find with that is then, once it's filled, it's filled. So you really struggle if you do it that way to then layer anything on top. And because I like, as you can see now, I'm just going over with the Derwent Lightfast white and picking out a few kind of stray hairs here just to bring it to life a little bit. Yeah, if you fill the grain of the paper, you can't really put any pencil on top. Whereas as you can see here, because I haven't filled the tooth of paper and I've used the blender pen, it's kind of smoothed it on, and I can add more on top. So that's where you start seeing more depth coming out. And that's what I aim for. I like to get depth in my drawings and bring them to life. So that's why I don't fill the tooth of the paper. I use layers. And as you can see, I'm going in now with, this is Salmon Pink. And it's a Prismacolor. And I'm just going in, just bringing out some of those nice pink tones again, because they've kind of got lost there. I'll just brighten them up a little bit. I like this little bit at the bottom. It's kind of brightened up quite nicely. Okay, and what I do, just as a kind of almost a finishing touch, I'm just going to sharpen my pencil again, so excuse the noise. I want to get it really sharp because what I like doing at this point is just picking out just individual hairs. And see how when you cross across the grain like that, so all the other ones are going that way and you suddenly put one up that way, it just makes it look more real, because furry animals have, and same with that, see that? It just really makes it pop. And it's because animals do have all these little wisps and hairs going on. So if you make it too perfect, everything's going in the right direction, whatever, it's a little unrealistic looking. Even if it does actually look like that in the photo, I tend to find just add in just a, there we go, we'll put another one there, see what I mean? And because it's crossing over your lights as well, it really makes your lights pop. If you do that, because you're contrasting it with the darks. So you just want here and there, just a little wisp out of place. I'm just going to do that on the outside as well. There we go. And the key point with any drawing is just to really observe. Make sure your ear is the shape it's meant to be. Make sure it's got little wisps where it's meant to, and make sure the direction of the fur. That's probably one of the most important with pet portraits. Make sure the direction of the fur is going where it should, with the exception of the little wisps I just said. Okay, so I think I'm going to call that a day on that one. I hope you've enjoyed that. I hope you've learned something, and tune back in for my other videos if you've enjoyed this. And remember, please like and subscribe. See you next time. Bye.